Hey everyone, and welcome back to a brand new episode of Between the Melodies, which is a podcast series that will dive all about music, looking at behind the scenes with artists, and just talking about how different artists navigate their own journey. Our guest today is an artist making waves, if I can say, in the trance scene. He's over the years he had releases on Black Hole Recordings, Find Your Harmony, Perfecto Records. And then have had support from DJs like Armin van Buuren, Ali and Fia, Andrew Rael, Sander van Doorn, I think Timmy Trumpet as well, just to name a
Yep.
few. So I'm super excited to have him on the podcast today. So welcome, Aldor.
Hello, hello. Thank you so much for having me.
To begin with, I've prepared a few quick fire questions just to get to know more about you.
Mhm.
So for the first question is, how would you describe your music? Let's say 3 words to describe your music.
Just three different words. Um, I hope catchy,
Yeah.
interesting, and different.
Cool. Yeah, I think we'll get onto that a little bit, but I know that you produced it quite different styles as well over the years.
Yeah,
So yeah.
yeah.
And secondly, do you have a favorite record of yours so far?
Yes. I actually really believed in my track Stay, and it was released a couple of years ago. I still love it, and it was my favorite track a couple of years ago. It's like Spotify, the most listened track of the year.
Yeah, I mean I've heard that track as well. I think there's a
Mhm.
few remixes of it as well.
Yeah,
Really love all
Dimension
the
made
versions.
remix and Dennis Shepard. So,
Yeah, I mean it's a great track. Um, and then in terms of music production, do you have like a favorite plugin?
Serum, 100%. Yeah, it's in every single line of my production.
Cool. And also, if you had to choose, would you rather just produce music only, or would you also just, I mean, would you rather produce only or DJ only?
Oh, that's a tough one. Because producing is so simple for me now.
Mhm.
It's like a second nature at this point, but I'm really working hard at this point to actually DJ. And I know people who don't produce and DJ all
Mhm.
the time. And if I had to choose one, it's probably produce because it's like more natural and easier. I love gigs. They're so much fun, but it's slightly different dynamic.
Mhm.
You cannot be cozy at home and have a gig. Well, unless you do like online streaming for Twitch
Yeah.
or something like this.
I'm assuming that you started off by producing music. Am I right?
No, that's
Oh,
not true. I actually started 20 years ago.
wow.
Only as a DJ. I DJ on CDs for like I
Wow.
do open genre. Like I would play pop music, and I remember playing "The World Is Mine" when it just came out. So that was a lot of fun. But at some point, you want to have bigger clubs, and you want to you look at all the big DJs and everybody was saying like you have to produce. So I take a break from DJing and I start producing. And now it's the other way around. So I'm like, I'm pretty good at producing and I'm like reaching out to different like bookers and talent agents to like, hey, I'm ready to DJ.
Yeah, I mean, I've been seeing, you have a few shows that you
Yeah.
did. So
Mhm.
that's really cool to see
Yeah,
progressing in that
I'm
way. Yeah.
pretty happy. Yeah, I'm pretty happy. I live in Washington, D.C. right now,
Mhm.
and I'm building a really good relationship with Insomniac. Um Part of this Insomniac, it's Club Glow. They're incredible team. They have like the biggest shows here, and I was really happy to be a part of them because a couple of weeks ago I opened for Gareth Emery, and
Yeah.
it's just like dream come true. Last year, I did Dream State with them, and also I opened for Cosmic Gate, Creon. So, yeah, it was amazing working with them. I love
I
them.
mean, yeah, that must be really cool to
Hmm.
do.
Yeah.
And yeah, lastly, I know you just mentioned there that you're now in Washington. So where would you recommend people visit in your hometown or where you live right now? Is there anything that you think people should come and do?
Yeah, I would say clubs sound check that I can say I was resident, but it shut it down.
Oh,
So the next bigger venue is Echo Stage from the same team. So Echo Stage is huge. Tiesto is coming next month
wow.
or in February. I think at this point he already would be there. Um, but yeah, huge venue, and I hope they're gonna open something else like a club, but it's not confirmed yet, so we'll see.
Awesome. And now to just dive deeper, really, let's start off with your music. So, um, firstly, why did you decide to pick up music production in the first place? Was there anything that inspired you? Because I mean, I know that you said you actually started with DJing for a couple of years and then you transitioned
Yeah.
to focusing on the production side of things. So, I guess why did you decide to make that switch?
I, back in the day when I was DJing, I was a good friend of uh, a guy who managed RT.
Mm,
And I remember talking to Artie before he became like worldwide star. And I was asking this guy like, "Hey, how did it happen? Like, how Artie became so big?" And he's like, "Music production." Everybody was telling me like, you have to produce music to become something bigger than just a local DJ. And yeah, I remember when I started producing, it took me a while until my first release. It was a bumpy road, to be honest. And I took some breaks here and there. And it wasn't an easy process. Um, but I'm happy that I did because now I have something to it's completely different feeling when you play your own song and people know it and people
yeah.
support it, and especially when they sing to the like I recently played Where Do I Go, one of my tracks, and like people knew lyrics and you're like, wow.
Yeah, I mean, that must be just really cool to be able to drop your own tracks and people are, they know it and then they're dancing to it as
Yeah,
well.
yeah.
And over your releases, I've noticed that you do quite different things, different styles, different genres. So, what was that drive in just being creative and trying different things?
um I think to me it's the other way around. It was I'm naturally prone to listen to different genres. If I could, I would just release all sorts of genre under one name, not just like trance, progressive house, melodic house, tech house, but also like, I don't know, I don't want to say drum and bass, but like all over the place. So I have to actually, tame myself and say like, hey, let's at least not do like bass rush stuff. Like, let's be at least stay in the house lane in like 120, 130, no more than that. Let's like have some consistency there.
Mm,
So it's easy for me to be in different genres and listen to different music and create different tracks and try something new and kind of like also trying to mesh them together. But it's difficult for me to like stop myself. Okay, like let's not do dubstep under this name. So yeah, but I love it. It was actually a choice that I made because a lot of people said like, "Hey, you cannot release like trance song and tech house. You cannot release on Black Hole and Tool Room next month."
mm,
But I think we can. You know, um, I don't compare myself to like top 10 DJs, but like if they can do it, if David Guetta can do it, if Armin van Buuren can do it, yeah, it might be a uphill battle if I don't stay in one lane,
mm,
but I, at least I, at least I have. you know, big variety of music that I released myself that I like. So that was the idea under this project. I did think about creating a separate project and just to try like separate alias
Mhm.
and release just one genre specifically, like targeted. Um, I yet to do it, but with this particular name, I'm like, let's let's have some guardrails, but let's not limit ourselves too much.
Yeah, I think that that's a good point. I guess you could say the bottom line is to release music that you personally enjoy, you want to listen to, and hopefully that will then resonate with the audience.
Right, right.
Yeah.
But also this is all of the genres that I personally play in my
Mm.
sets. So if I only release, let's say, melodic house,
Yeah.
but I also, go to the party and open for Gareth Emery, I cannot just play only melodic house.
Yeah.
I try to, again, mash different genres in one mix, and sometimes you can throw a tech house song in, like in the opening set, and sometimes you have like melodic techno and continue with some progressive house. So that's kind of like I try to create everything that I potentially can play in my sets or listen in my playlist.
Yeah, yeah, that's a great point. And leading on nicely, you release a whole lot of collaborations, but also remixes as well.
Mhm.
So how do these collaborations really come about? Like, do you reach out to artists, or do you have other artists reaching out to you?
Um, it depends. It's especially with collabs. Um, I really like how this hobby actually create source for different outlets because I also met so many people
Yeah.
and I just made actual friends and I love, networking with people, chatting with people, and just expressing what I like. When I hear a good song, I would just go and say like, "Hey, really like this song." And, sometimes it happens and people are like, hey, do you want to really remix this song? Or, I can ask people like, I like your music. Are you interested in remixing something? Um, Same with collabs. Sometimes I ask people, sometimes people ask me. So, but obviously with bigger collabs and bigger remixes, I reached out to Dimension. I offered him remix because he made a remix for me before.
Mm.
Um, yeah, with probably with bigger producers, I reached out to them, but it goes both ways. But I guess the main point of what I'm trying to make is I just really like chatting with people, making friends, and on top of that, have this like little creative hobby.
Yeah, I mean, I saw that you went to 80 last year. Um, so I think again that must be a great say moment to catch up with different
Yeah.
other artists, and maybe
hmm
something would stem from there.
hmm
Yeah.
I mean, I mostly met with people that I knew.
Mhm.
So a lot of people say you have to go to ED um, to kind of meet people and network. I did it 2 years ago, and I want to say it's a crunch time. It's nervous. It's cold. It's
Yeah.
rainy. It's really annoying. Amsterdam is so annoying during in October.
Mhm.
So I actually made a couple of friends there. Uh, I met Mitch there, and he invited me to play at ADE
Mhm.
last year. So that was kind of like interesting 360. But overall, my expectation were really like higher, and I expected to meet more people, and I expected that it's going to be like big collaborative effort, everyone just shaking hands. It's not like that, like that, because it might be messy, it might be difficult, if you're new to the scene and you don't know who you're gonna meet,
Mm.
and it's lucky. Like you don't know who you're gonna meet there. You might not meet anyone. You might, first time I went to ED, Mark Knight was just like walking my way, and it was an interesting moment for me. It was first time I see a big DJ, but also what can you do? You're not gonna scream like a fan and like or like pretend like you know each other. So it's funny, but last year when I went, it was much better because I know more people
Mm.
now. I know people who went there. I asked who's coming, and a lot of people responded, and we met. And this time it was already like, it felt like, family gathering, like Christmas. You just meet with people that you know, and you probably, some of them you only talk online. And this time you just go and you can sit down with them and have a conversation, have a cup of coffee. So it was awesome. It was really
Yeah.
nice to meet all these people.
And then another topic related to your music is about labels and releasing music with them. Because I know this is a topic, I guess, um, where you compare whether you should self-release your records or work
Yeah.
with labels. And I mean, I know that you work with a number of labels. What do you feel about releasing music with labels? And if you do release music with labels, what are you looking for? And what does that relationship look like?
Yeah. That was another decision that I made um, early on that for now I'll be only working with labels.
Yeah.
And once again, because it's not about money and it's not even about promotion. It's more about the community that a lot of labels provide. Um, it's about making this connections with people because, there are certain label presidents and you kind of start working with them. You start, again, building relationship. Um, my issue with self-release, I think there are two way how I see people self-release. One is super successful and it's by big DJs and producers that can release on any label.
Mhm.
So I think Gareth Emery self-released a couple of times. I think other DJs saw just self-released. And it's not because they cannot release on Armada or Spinning. They can. They just make decision not to. But they already have community.
Yeah.
They have a lot of subscribers. You know, they don't need to prove anything.
Mhm.
Nobody needs to A&R their music. So they can release and they probably have their own team and their own promotion machine. And that successful scenario, how you self-release, you can, create your own label and only release on your own label, like I think a lot of DJ do right
Mhm.
now. And I think unsuccessful is when people kind of trying to skip some steps and bypass A&R and bypass the quality and just like let me pump all the tracks to Spotify. Well, you're losing all of the feedback and you're not growing and you're not you don't have access to community
Yeah.
now. You can try and push your music yourself, but I see very few successful uh, artists who self-release.
Yeah.
And I actually see a lot of self-release because I have my own playlists, and a lot of people submit tracks to my playlist through Groover. Um, yeah, unfortunately, a lot of self-release song is just like it's not ready. Like you need to work a little bit more and you need to go through this. I know it's annoying to work with labels sometimes, and this business model might be, you know, tough sometimes to work with, but you have to go through this. It's one of the steps to, build yourself as an artist.
Yeah, I mean, I've as like you, I've released a couple of tracks with labels, and I think yeah, what you said about community is really true. I've managed to connect with a lot of artists
Yeah,
through releasing music with record labels and going into their say community and just connecting with artists in that way. So I
yeah.
think it provides a really nice platform for smaller producers, aspiring producers,
Hmm.
to get started from there.
Yeah,
So yeah, I think that's one of the biggest upsides I think of releasing with record labels. Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah. And you can have supports like, for example, I'm really fortunate to work with Find Your Harmony,
Mm,
and having support from Andrew is like super helpful. Um, and labels that are also released, Tool Room, for example,
mm,
having support from Mark Knight is huge. Um, Black Hole is huge label, and it's so great to work with different sub labels from them. So I'm happy, and I see huge results working with labels. If you go a little bit more like nerdy in financial side, if you, for example, invest in your own promotion and you want to see your money back, and you kind of approach your project as a like business, and you really want to see the actual, you know, money back for your promotion from royalties, that's a completely different conversation
mm,
because it might be difficult if big label, for example, can take big portion of royalties and you still put, all of your money and, you know, even with Spotify's like Spotify algorithmic support, it still might be not enough to get
yeah.
your money back. But I don't think it's the problem that, you know, new producer phase. I think it's like more of a like at the end of your journey when you can see what's more lucrative for you to release with a
Mm,
label or by yourself. And once again, if you can release on any label, it just becomes like one more options and like easier option. You can release on spinning and next you can self-release. But if you cannot release on spinning and you just continue self-releasing, you might shoot yourself in the foot, or like you're shooting
yeah.
yourself in the foot because you're trying to skip certain steps.
Yeah, yeah, totally agree with that. And now another aspect of your work is obviously DJing. So, what does your process look like when you prepare a set? And is there a particular way you like to construct your set?
Um, Good question. Because you never know.
Yeah,
I think the also depends what kind of night and what kind of set it is. It's not always the same because I do a lot of opening sets right now, and you kind of have an obligation to feed the vibe
yeah,
and create the vibe for the night. So you cannot just go and play whatever you want. So you do have to do a little bit of homework and research on what DJ is doing right now, what they prefer, what they like, what what their vibe is. And there are certain rules for opening DJs, so you kind of have to stick to these rules because it would be ridiculous to play something like banger when it's empty dance floor and they just open the door. But at the same time, every single time I go to DJ decks, I want to give 100%. And I want people, I don't want to say I want to stand out because it's not your goal as an opening DJ, but you do want people to remember you. You do want to like
mm,
give certain, you know, show to people. Um, so it's a balancing act for opening sets. For regular sets, I think it's more freeing. I played one show when I did 4 hours from like open to pretty late. And it was fun because you can pretty much come up with like the entire journey 4 hours. You can start whenever, like wherever you want, and you can go and grow this energy in a pace that you think works best, and you can also see how people react. Um, I do sometimes create, like, let's say I have 1 hour opening set. I want to create some sort of like a playlist with potential songs that
Yeah.
that I think might work,
Hmm.
but I also have another playlist and all of the music from before that I, keep there just in case if I feel like, something's not working, I need
Mm.
to try something else. But mostly I do my radio show every
Hmm.
week,
Yeah, yeah.
and I have a ton of DJ promo coming my way. So every week I have a ton of music that I listen and I save songs that I like. So I don't have problem having music. But I do have problem like selecting it.
Mm.
And when you have like hundreds of tracks on your computer just from last month, you have to like the way how I actually prepare right before I sit down and I listen to what actually stuck out for me last month. I throw it to my DJ record box,
Yeah.
and sometimes I just throw as many tracks as possible and I kind of like wing it, and it works great because you might think you know how it like what's gonna work, and I don't I try not to do like sets that like when I know what track is going to like how like
Mm.
the complete like
Yeah.
strict playlist, because usually when you're sitting home and you're not in front of the decks and you think like, oh, this track would work great, and you're in front of the people, I'm like, you you load in the track and like, no, it's not gonna work.
Mm.
So I think the best strategy for me is to have as much music as possible, at least like five time of the 5 time more than you need.
Yeah. Yeah.
So if you play for an hour, you should have at least like 5, 6, I would say 10 hours of
Mm.
music just to select from. And you will see how your decision making change while you like in front of actual audience. It's really different. Um, and just select, I try to select as many different energy level tracks because of course I drawn to select like bigger DJs and like bangers and huge songs, but it's not how DJ set actually works. And that's something that I'm still learning
Mm.
because it's okay to play a lot of vocal tracks, but also you will see how it might be even exhausting for people just to, you know, to every single time have this like epic break for
Yeah.
2, 3 minutes. So sometimes you have to have non-vocal tracks and more of a like dubby tracks, and even like more often maybe play less vocal tracks. So it's a balancing act. Homework is most important. Um, I used to create a lot of what is it called, tags
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
myself. I don't do it anymore because, you know, before when I switched from CDs to like files, I would kind of prepare myself just to know like what kind of like DJ intro and outro there. But when you DJ more and you listen to more music, you realize that, you can mix in and mix out from any track. You don't need to like know everything about the track to DJ it right.
Yeah, that's true. I guess you get better by just simply just playing more shows.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Um,
you don't have to like getting shows is not easy for new DJs.
yeah.
So I would really recommend do your own radio show just
Hmm.
for yourself. You can do Twitch streaming or TikTok lives. And if no one's coming, you just like you're practicing, you're having fun. I love DJing. I love the process of DJing. It's so much fun.
Hmm. And you actually predicted the next question because I was gonna touch on your radio show. Um,
Hmm.
and basically, I've noticed that a lot of DJs they sort of have their own like radio show or mixes that they do. Um, and so for you, like, why did you decide to start one, and what inspired you to keep going?
Um, for me, it's something that I commit every week,
Hmm.
and I do this. I don't want to say for myself, but even if nobody listens to my radio show, I will because it's a selection of my favorite music that I spend time to select, mix, put together, and get it out there. But also, I want to have something to give people to show, like, hey, this is what I think cool right now,
Hmm.
and this is what my style or like my artist is now. And it also creates, again, community because I play other people tracks. They notice that. And I also want to do the guest mixes
Hmm.
soon because it's another way to connect with people. And maybe if somebody listens to your radio shows, you also can bring other DJs and different kind of energy to your radio show. But that's all in the beginning. But when I start working with after hours and you realize that thousands of people listen to your radio show and people actually care and people they have forum and some people discuss. That's really nice feedback to have that
Hmm.
will keep you going. So it's just fun. It's fun to continue like selecting through promos. I love listening to music. I hear certain songs and certain big songs even before they released.
Hmm.
I play them before they released, and I can make my own selection and like my own product out of it. It's so much fun. And if people love it, that's even better.
Yeah, and I mean, you already started touching on the fact about audience, and how did you start building an audience for your radio show in the first place? I mean, because obviously, it's quite a saturated space. So how did you start building your fan base?
That well, for a radio show, I mostly work with after hours at the moment.
Mm-mm.
Um, this is something that I need to honestly work more on because there's a lot of opportunity in the space. Even though it's saturated,
Mm.
at the same time, there are a ton of radio stations and radio stations online and radio stations like FM. And it seemed like it's saturated and nobody listens to it, but it's not true. People do listen to radio shows and people do care. And it's a great way to connect with people. But um, I do have people who follow what I do, and mostly through After Hours FM because they have a great, big number of people who actually care for their mixes. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think like radio show is another really good outlet to build a community, to build network. Because I mean, I've had instances where I think I've seen my track being played by this particular radio show, and then I reached out to them, and then they're like, "Do you want to do a guest mix for us?" And yeah, so I guess
Hmm.
you just build connections that way as well. So I
Yeah.
think that it's really cool to see. Uh,
Yeah. And it's one problem that I face pretty often, and I think a lot of DJs and producers, if
Mhm.
they're not on top, uh, probably face. You sometimes it might be really lonely, and you might think like nobody cares about your music, and you just like kind of put all of this stuff in the ether, and nobody cares, and people only care about like David Guetta and Armin van Buuren and Alesso. Um, but it's not true. Sometimes, like, I met a person, a DJ from New York, uh, on the plane from EDE, and we kind of started chatting. Turns out he played my songs, and he a big fan of Perfecto and
Mm.
Oakenfold. So you never know who listens to your music. Sometimes I go through, you know, how in Reels and TikToks you can
Yeah.
see your song and you
Mm.
can go to like Reels created based on your song, and you can see real people creating music with you, creating Reels with your song, and you could see how people interact with your own music. That's incredible to know. And like people do hear it and people do listen to it.
Yeah, yeah, it's always great to see, and sometimes you find it in the most unexpected places.
Yeah,
But it's always
absolutely.
great to see your music being picked up. Yeah.
Hmm.
Well, this has been an awesome conversation, and I'm sure that there's many points that listeners can take away from. And to round things off, we're gonna have a short section about shout out, which hopefully will be interesting to see among the guests we have here um, on the podcast. So, for the first group or artist, is who would you say is like a one to watch in the scene?
I have a lot of friends, DJs, people who I collaborated
Mm,
with. I collaborated because I think they are incredible and they have
yeah.
um, great style. I wouldn't call one name,
Mm,
but if people are really interested and they like, they see if I collaborate with somebody, um, all of them I think worth checking because
mm.
they're doing something great.
Yeah, true. Yeah, there's so many music out there, so many different producers out there, and yeah, I guess it's impossible to really track it all.
Yeah.
Okay, and next is there a particular artist that you would like to see on the podcast, just to share their stories and experiences? Is there anyone you'd like to hear from in particular?
Yeah, well, I work a lot with Dennis Shepard,
Hmm.
and I think he has a lot to share. He's he's not just producer and DJ, he also like mentor to a lot of DJ. He's mentor to me,
Yeah. Wow.
and he really helped with my production a lot. So I would love to listen to a conversation with him. I would definitely watch that.
Yeah, well, I'll see what I can do to maybe make that happen. And now, before you go, so let's look ahead into 2026 a bit more. Is there anything that you want to share with your fans? Are there stuff that you have coming up in 2026?
Yeah, I continue working with A Tribute to Life.
Mm,
I continue being like A&R and like doing stuff for the label. So that's my great place, the Dennis Shepard label. Um, Love working with them. Continue working with Find Your Harmony. Uh, Absolutely incredible team. Love
mm,
working with them. A lot of music coming out, different styles, different genres. Um, but we'll see. It's a wild ride.
for sure, for sure. And yeah, thanks again for coming and
Thank
taking the
you.
time to
Thank you for
come
having
talk.
me.
So yeah, hope everyone enjoys the episode, and I'll see you again in the next one.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.